Alcohol, nicotine, and pornography. On the surface, they look like different addictions, but to your brain, they are exactly the same. Because the real addiction isn't to pornography. It's not to the bottle and it's not to the cigarette. The real addiction is dopamine. And until you understand how dopamine works, you will continue to fight yourself and lose battles that are actually happening in your brain. See, dopamine is what is referred to as a neurotransmitter. Think of it like your brain's motivational fuel. It's what drives you to seek things like reward and to take action and to pursue something. Things like eating, sex, winning, connection, all of these give you a natural hit of dopamine. But here's where things go wrong. When you introduce a super stimulus like pornography, alcohol, or nicotine, you are literally hijacking the dopamine system. Porn gives you hundreds of micro rewards in minutes. Novelty, nudity, climax, and every single one triggers a dopamine spike. Your brain gets flooded, and just like any drug, what floods eventually crashes. The brain starts to protect itself. It literally begins to lower natural dopamine receptors. What does that mean? Well, it means you become numb to real life. Real relationships begin to feel boring. Real conversations feel flat. Real intimacy can never compete. So what happens next? Well, you begin to feel off. You begin to feel numb and unmotivated and disconnected. You start looking for another hit just to feel alive again. And what's the fastest, cheapest, most accessible fix? You guessed it, pornography. This is the addiction loop. First, you feel pain and stress hits. Second, you seek a dopamine escape. Third, you crash afterward and feel worse. And then finally, you then seek another hit to escape the crash you're feeling. It becomes a neurochemical prison of sorts. Not because you're weak, not because you don't love God, but because your brain is running a loop that you have rehearsed hundreds and maybe even thousands of times before. Let's go deeper. You're not just watching pornography because you're overly horny. You're watching pornography because you're trying to escape something. Think about it. You're feeling overwhelmed, so now you want relief. Or you're feeling rejected, so now you want to feel desired. Or maybe you feel angry and you want to feel in control again. Porn becomes the shortcut to false relief, but every shortcut has a price, and the price of pornography is pretty expensive. Pornography will cost you your peace, your purpose, your presence in the real world. It's not just a moral issue. It's not just a spiritual issue. It's a brain and a heart issue. You're not just addicted to porn. You're addicted to escaping pain. And porn, it just happens to be your drug of choice. Now, here's the good news. Your brain is not broken. Your brain is plastic. That means it can change, it can heal, even if you've been stuck for years. I mean, I was stuck for 26 years of my life. But let me tell you something about healing. Healing will not happen through willpower alone. You need to rewire the system. You need to change the inputs and reprogram the pathways. And the Bible doesn't ignore this. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Science calls this neuroplasticity. Scripture calls it renewal. Both science and the Bible agree that change is possible in the mind, but it requires intention, it requires honesty, and for many men, it requires help. If you're tired of white-knuckling your way to freedom, if you've deleted the apps and installed the blockers and still feel stuck, it's not because you're too far gone, men. It's because you're fighting alone, and you're fighting the wrong enemy. At Unchained Leader, we have walked over 8,000 men just like you to freedom. Men who didn't just want to stop watching porn. They wanted to feel alive again. They wanted to stop escaping and start living. Here, they found hope. They found healing. They found freedom. If you're ready to take that step, comment the word escape below. And I'm going to send you a free training that breaks this down even further and gives you the exact roadmap that has helped over 8,000 men walk free from addiction and walk into the life they were created to live. Let me tell you something. You weren't created to escape life. You were made to live it.